So I have the pleasure of working with great leaders in this organization and with a board chair who is dedicated to the job. She's highly organized. Her passion for this industry is beyond question. She puts it out there for her own retail business and for her leadership role within ARA. She and her husband Harlan also run the best bed and breakfast in Rake, Iowa, and nobody else even comes close. So highly recommended. But would you please join me in welcoming our 2024-25 ARA Board Chair, Amy Asmus.
Okay, in the spirit of AI, I had dinner last night and sat next to Ranveer, and he asked if I was ready for my presentation today, and I was asking him if he was ready for his. We're throwing some things back and forth, and I said, I'm kind of having a hard time getting it from my head to on a piece of paper. And he goes, well, you know, I can help you with that, Amy. I said, nah, this one's probably on me. I better do this one. So I get back to the room and I sit down and I get my computer up and I'm going to type out what I'm telling you today. And my son Garrett comes over and he says, Mom, you want me to start you with the Chat GPT? Like, thanks, but you know, this one's on me. I'm going to use my own AI. So that was like Amy Insight or Amy Inspiration. But in full disclosure, I have to tell you, I got my phone out and I Googled words beginning with I, meaning sharing or presenting. So baby steps, I did use a little bit of AI for this one. So I hope you enjoy it. First of all, I want to thank you for entrusting me with the incredible honor of serving all of you as chairman of the board for the Agricultural Retailers Association. I want you to know that I don't take this responsibility lightly. As I look across this room, I know it contains people that I respect and that I look up to, people that I have learned from, and people who are retailers that I compete with on the acre and collaborate with in the industry. Also, I see people who are not retailers but are important stakeholders in our success, who without them, we as retailers could not do what we do. Yet, as I stand before you in these very, very bright lights, I'm not the one who is carrying out the responsibility of the association's board work. The real makers of decisions are the board members who sit among you. So please, if you're a seated member of the ARA board, please stand and remain standing. If you are an incoming member of the ARA board, please stand and remain standing. If you are a past member of the ARA board, please stand and remain standing. If you are an active participant in one of ARA's committees, I will call them out and I would like you to stand and remain standing. The AeroPac Committee, the Audit Committee, Conference Planning Committee, Investment Policy Committee, Member Services Committee, Nominating Committee, and last but never least, the Public Policy Committee. Now everybody look around you. These are the people who do the work of the ARA board. Please give them all a huge round of applause and thank you for being engaged. You can all sit down now. When Darren and I talked about what we should cover in our separate presentations to you, we decided that he would highlight the specific achievements that were done by him and his staff on behalf of the board. That left me to touch on the work of the ARA board. What exactly is the work of the ARA board? And I am so glad that you asked that. I want to start with strategic planning for ARA. Every 5 years or so, the board members participate in a facilitated strategic planning retreat. It is a time where we can take a look at the mission and priorities that create the roadmap for the work of this association. During the last strategic plan exercises, the board identified 3 pillars of focus for everything that we do. The first pillar is growing and engaged membership. Underneath this pillar, we put things like member services, member retention and recruitment, clear communication of how and when members can become engaged with events and committees. The second pillar we cover is informed stakeholders. Underneath this, I put things like social media communications, website documents that are provided for members, webinars, our DC help desk, earned and paid media mentions, and collaborations with other stakeholders and associations. The third pillar that we put together is a strong retailer-focused advocacy. This we use to hold activities like the fly-in participation, voter voice campaigns, coalitions and sign-on letters, congressional testimonies, PAC support, and working with the agencies and other government entities. Okay, all that's great, right? Now we know what we want to prioritize, but how do we get it done? First of all, as a board, we need to provide for staff. And I'm standing here to tell you what a great staff that we have. First of all, I would like to take just a little break to recognize them as well, because the heavy listing in the list that I just spouted off to you is done by the staff. So if you're in the room, I know some of them are busy doing their job, I would like you to stand up and let us recognize you as staff. Darren Kopic is our CEO. Donnie, are you in the room? I can't see much with the lights. Darren, I already said Darren. Richard. Hunter. Andrea. Brenna. And Chelsea. And this time of year, I also want them to stand up in the room is the various event staff that help us at the registration table and help us get where we want to go. If you're in the room, please stand up. So let's give them a huge round of applause. I tell people in other associations that I would put our professional staff up against theirs any day. We are lean, but we have a mighty staff, and we are thankful for that. Okay, now we know our priorities. We have a great staff posed and ready to carry those out. Another responsibility of the board is fiduciary. That is where your membership dues, sponsorship dollars, fees, and funds generated by member services and the annual meeting add up for the income side of our balance sheet. The board also maintains, through the investment committee, an emergency investment fund for just that, emergencies. But several years ago, the board did an evaluation of what we need for those emergencies. And since the investment committee has done such an outstanding job, we were able to identify some excess funds from that budget. These funds we use to look at special projects to benefit members outside of our budget. This fund has allowed us not only to fund those extra projects that might not regularly be afforded, but also allows us to keep your membership fees at the same level they have been for the last several years, and without a current need to raise them in the immediate future. Some of the projects that we've used this money for are around member recruitment and retention, communication and branding of ARA, and market research, particularly around H-2A worker regulations and how ARA can help members deal with that, especially with the expected changes in immigration laws. The ARA PAC funds are also in a separate account, but are used to support those members in the Senate and the House that support agriculture through their campaigns to ensure our advocates stay in office. So please keep your bidding on items for the ARA PAC auction up, and if you are lucky enough to have a ticket for the live event tonight, please be generous with your bids because it is a very good cause. I wanted to share with you what the board actually does because I think that the decisions being made in committees and at the board level shape how agriculture retailers are represented in DC, in our states, and in society. It is important, satisfying, and influential work. My grandmother, the one I told the red suit story about last year, used to always say, good ideas don't work unless we do. It's a good idea to be a member of ARA. It's a good idea to get involved on the board and the committees. But it does take work and input by you. Member benefits are truly an example of you get out of an organization what you put in it. Yesterday, Darren touched on a lot of the successes that ARA has accomplished in the last year and looked forward to challenges that we may face in 2025, mostly in the policy realm. Advocacy work is foundational to the success of this group and its members. It has been said several times throughout this conference that we are in a time of chaos and uncertainty. Our tools, our freedom to operate, are being contested by the agencies, the courts, and other outside forces. But policy is not the only important work of this association. It also works hard to provide you with member services, marketing tools, and events like this annual meeting to help you network and to help your business grow. As for me, it has also grown my circle of true friends in the industry. The social aspect of this group has been shared with me many times as one of the favorite aspects of participating in ARA. You're attending the annual meeting, but this is not the only member event that we hold. Our other meetings and events are not just for seated board members. You can get involved by agreeing to be a part of one of the committees or a special work group. It's a good first step. And to be transparent, your involvement on committees is a great way to be seen and possibly chosen for an opening in a board seat. Talk to me or the staff if you have interest in being put on one of the committees or an interest to eventually serving on the board. I invite you all to show up and engage with the winter meeting and hill visits to be held on February 24th through 26th in Arlington, Virginia. That meeting, you will get to participate in committee meetings where the work of ARA is done. You'll get to participate in advocacy on the Hill, and you can attend the board meeting as an audience member. This is one of my favorite meeting experiences and one I like to expose some of my team members to as well. Show up, engage at the fall meeting held every September, where we have a day of committee meetings and other in-person board meetings. Next year, I'll be hosting everybody in Des Moines, Iowa, with the dates yet to be determined, but we will get them out to you as soon as we lock them down. Take advantage of the many member services, learning opportunities, and other things offered by ARA and their sponsor partners. Our theme this year is Powering Ag Retail's Next Frontier. That power is here in this room. When you show up and engage in all the work of ARA as a member, you don't just carry yourself and your business into the next frontier. You help to shape that frontier for ag retail to be better prepared to make that future the best it can be for all of us. I'm honored to serve as your chair, and I'm excited about the incredible things that we will achieve. Together, let us build upon the success of the past, embrace the challenges of the present, and shape a future that ensures the prosperity and sustainability of agricultural retailers and their partners. The theme today is AI. Again, I Googled the second word. And I would like to think that means ARA influence. Adopt it and be a part of it. Thank you.